Happy day everyone. Today we are going to discuss about the basics of ASP.NET. ASP.NET is one of the prominent web technologies. So what is ASP.NET? ASP.NET is a server-side scripting technology which enables the scripts embedded in web pages to be executed by an internet server. ASP.NET is basically a product of Microsoft. It's a Microsoft technology. It stands for Active Server Pages. ASP.NET is a program that runs inside IIS server, Internet Information Services server. IIS is a Microsoft Internet server and it comes as a free component with Windows servers. IIS is also a part of Windows 2000 and XP Professional, and ASP.NET provides better language support, a large set of new controls and XML based components, and provides better user authentication. So it provides increased performance by running a compiled code. So before going into ASP.NET, we need to look into what is called as Classic ASP. Classic ASP is nothing but Microsoft's previous server-side scripting language. So it's actually called as Classic ASP, and ASP 3.0 was the last version of Classic ASP. And ASP.NET and ASP, they are not one and the same. ASP.NET is the next generation of ASP, but it's not an upgraded version of ASP. It's an entirely new technology to deal with server-side scripting and for developing robust applications. ASP.NET is a major part of Microsoft's .NET framework. So ASP.NET file, when you talk about ASP.NET file, it is just similar to an XML or a HTML file. ASP.NET file can contain HTML and XML and scripts. Scripts in ASP.NET file are executed on the server. An ASP.NET file has a file extension as .aspx. So how does ASP.NET work? So whenever a browser requests for a HTML file, you are requesting for a HTML file, the server returns the file. So when a browser requests for an ASP.NET file, the IIS passes the request to the ASP.NET engine which resides on the IIS server. The ASP.NET engine reads the file line by line and executes the scripts in the file. Finally, the ASP.NET file is returned to the browser as a plain HTML file. So for example, HTML page execution, if you are requesting a HTML page as www.ocstc.org, in that you are requesting for a resumes.htm. The server finds and downloads the page and the browser displays the page. So ASP page execution, when you look at ASP.NET page execution, when you request for an ASP page here in www.ocstc.org and default.asp, so the server will find the page as default.asp and it will execute the ASP commands, converts ASP to HTML or XML as needed, and the browser displays the page. So ASP in the Microsoft language family, since ASP.NET is a Microsoft product, it can interact with other Microsoft languages or any applications. For example, it can execute SQL commands, it can open and close databases, create and modify database tables, and it can control other languages like VB or C#, and it can control an XML document also. So language support, when you discuss about the language support of ASP.NET, it uses the new ADO.NET, ActiveX Data Object.NET. It supports Visual Basic, it supports C#, JavaScript and C++. Apart from this, it also contains a rich set of HTML controls which can be controlled by scripts. And ASP.NET also contains some object-oriented input controls like programmable list boxes and validation controls, which can be widely used in web applications for performing validations. And also it has a new data grid control which supports sorting, data paging and everything you expect from a dataset control. So Microsoft.NET framework. So this Microsoft.NET framework is an environment which is used for building, developing, deploying and running web applications and web services. So Microsoft first server technology ASP was a powerful and flexible programming language, but it was too code oriented and it was not an application framework or an enterprise development tool. So Microsoft.NET framework was developed to solve this particular problem. So what are the keywords we used in .NET framework is, it's easier and quicker programming, it provides reduced amount of code, declarative programming model, you need to declare all the variables, it is strongly typed, you cannot use it as a loosely typed language. It has got a rich server control hierarchy with events associated with every control, and it has a larger class library function, and it provides better support for development tools. And .NET framework consists of three main parts. The first one is the programming languages, wherein you can use C#, Visual Basic or J#. And the second component is nothing but the server technologies and the client technology, what you could use in the .NET framework. The ASP.NET, Windows Forms, which can be used for Windows desktop solutions, and Compact Framework, which can be used for PDA or mobile solution. And the third most important component is a development environment, wherein you can develop web-based application in a Visual Studio.NET or Visual Web Developer. The tools what you need to create an ASP.NET application, the first and the foremost server what you need for creating an ASP.NET application is a web server. So Microsoft Internet Information Server, IIS, and I also need web services of Windows NT, Server 4.0 and Windows 2000 Server. And also you should have a fundamental knowledge of Visual Basic or C#. And if you are going to be working with a database, storage or retrieval, when you are working for a backend application in a web application, you should also have a knowledge of Access, SQL Server, etc. just to create database tables, and a knowledge of SQL commands and the knowledge of VB type of data handling. What are the features of ASP.NET? Why it makes it very powerful is it provides a better language support. It has got a very good programmable controls, and it is event driven programming where we can associate events with every control to make it very powerful. It's XML based component. It provides better user authentication with accounts and roles, so you can create secure and confidential web applications. It provides higher scalability, increased performance as the code is compiled and it's not interpreted, and it's easier to configure and deploy. Thank you.